Hello, State Senator J.D. Mesnard from District 13 here again to give you another legislative update. Last week was a super busy week at the State Senate as we were on the floor for really a marathon of votes trying to push out all the Senate bills to get them over to the House in time for their upcoming committee hearings. And they're doing the same thing, sending their bills our way. A couple of my bills, one of which I've discussed prior, did pass, which I was excited about. And one relates to, as I discussed previously, ensuring that if we hit July 1st without an agreement between the legislature and the governor on the upcoming state budget, that we do not have a government shutdown. I characterize this as the keep the government lights on. This measure would go before the voters, and it passed out of the Senate and will go over to the House. But assuming the House passes it, the voters would have the decision in November of next year. Another measure that would also go before the voters and does also relate to the budget relates to borrowing. A lot of folks don't realize that the Arizona Constitution places a pretty strict limit on borrowing, and yet we have actually found a way to get around that limit over the years through some creative accounting and budgeting gimmicks, which I don't think are good for our financial health. So what this would do is add a little more definition to what it means to have a debt limit in our Arizona Constitution. The Arizona Constitution debt limit is actually pretty small. It's only $350,000. So this would actually put some definition there and ensure that we can't be borrowing the billions of dollars that we have seen borrowed over these last recent years. So if this goes before the voters in 2024, you'll have an option to help put some constraints around our budgeting here. I don't think it's a good idea to be mortgaging our children's future, essentially kicking the can down the road by borrowing to pay for things today. Another measure that would also go before the voters, which I strongly support, relates to creating a Parents' Bill of Rights. This is something that is long overdue in my view. We have a long list of rights in the Arizona Constitution, but nothing there about safeguarding the right of parents to direct the upbringing, education, and care of their children. I was disappointed that this passed out of the Senate on a party line vote with every Democrat voting against it, but I and my colleagues on the Republican side can continue fighting for parental rights. Speaking of protecting kids, I did also vote for a bill that would ensure that sex-separated spaces in our K-12 schools, so showers, restrooms, locker rooms, are going to be based on sex and not this fluid notion of gender identity, which we've seen pop up in recent years. To me, this is a no-brainer, but unfortunately required a bill. That's all for this week. Until next week, we'll see you then. God bless.